Welcome MLP fans to my Observation Discovery Theory video. I'm going to walk you through all the scenes that were in the MLP Season 9 final trailer, and give you everything I discovered, observed, and analyzed throughout this video. I have broken down this trailer into categories, because it would be more than an hour video if I put them all together. Saves me on editing in a way. I mean, who wants to watch something for that long from an amateur video editor like me? Lol. For those who saw my observation videos in my last, now lost channel, you know how it goes. Except instead of telling you my theory after each scene, I decided to leave it all at the very end and tell you in one big theory fanfic reading. And at the end of each scene, I will ask a lot of questions which indicates some theories in it as well, if that makes any sense to you guys. That was my introduction, now for the side note. Please excuse my poor grammar, writing skills, and weird pronunciations throughout the video. My observations, discoveries, and theories may or may not be canon in the season finale. The order I put these scenes also may or may not be canon in the final episodes. Remember, I could be terribly wrong, and that's okay. No fighting, please. I was just having fun analyzing the trailer. Also, to have this on your minds while watching, the MLP staff have changed backgrounds to throw us off in the Season 9 trailer before. Thank you for listening.
Do you know you're all my very best friends?
Now first, I want to get these specific scenes out of the way from the trailer because they were already used in the past episodes of My Little Pony. If you don't believe me, you can check it out yourself to compare them. Now that those are out of the way, now we can get to the parts which I believe will be in the finale. Again, these scenes may not be in the finale. This is a wild guess on my part, and, well, on my observations too. But these led me to these conclusions that they will probably be in the finale. Now I'm going to start with this category called Twilight's Workroom. There are a lot of scenes in this specific room. This took me the longest to figure out, and I still don't have all the answers. Maybe you guys can help. I even did a whole map out of the similarities and differences of these scenes, how the room looks, the layout, the door, the rugs, the papers on the wall, the drapes, the windows, the two chalkboards, the books, the coffee mug, the scroll, the bookshelves, the decorations on the ceiling, the chair that exists and disappears, the sticky notes that are there but not there, where the characters stand and don't.
Yay!
And if that doesn't show my love, dedication, hard work, and trial, then you don't know how much this show means to me. Cause I broke my brain in the process of doing this, and it was worth it! Luckily, I did find a fellow brony who helped me out with answering some of my questions and giving me input. Thanks, Softy Turtle. My brain would have exploded without you. I owe you so much. Let's start with this scene with Pinky screaming,
Now let's see the question!
From the beginning, we see the main six and Spike. Yeah, Twilight is there, just hiding. Then she slowly backs away. It's hard to tell if Twilight is smiling or not because we can't see her face, but I have to think not because of her eyeline right here. You can't really see it that much, but you can see a little bit. And well, why would she be backing up in this situation anyway? Also, if we look at her friends' faces, they are confident and sure of themselves of Pinky's cheer. Yeah, Pinky. We just observed the characters. Now, let's look at the room. It's a mess. As you can see, there are books all over the floor and other things scattered around. Now I have questions that you guys can also think about while watching these scenes. Why does Pinkie Pie scream, "Now let's save Equestria"? Is there already a threat that they need to deal with to actually save Equestria? Why say, "Now let's save Equestria"? It seems they have to actually save it, like right now. Like, let's go, something bad is happening, we need to save it, let's head out. Also, their attitude and body language doesn't seem to be in a rush. Is there even a threat at all? What is Pinky implying? And why would Twilight back away right when Pinky says that? So many questions that need answers. For now, on to the next scene. Here we see Twilight and the others in result of her backing up to the other end of the room. Twilight seems unsure of something, or of herself. Her friends' expressions right here seem to be the response that Twilight may have explained to them later. Then Spike runs behind her while saying something, probably something encouraging to Twilight. As you see around the room, it's still a mess, which is how I connected the last scene with this one. The books, the tissue box, are the exact same ones and in the same place. And of course, the placement of the ponies match where they would stand to look at Twilight after their huddle. Now, these two scenes are the only ones that have a messy room that is obviously clearly seen. Now, to some more questions. Why is the room messy? Was Twilight doing some research? If yes, what? Were her friends also helping out with her research? Why does Twilight give the expression to Spike when she looks at him? What is Twilight doubting, feeling, expressing? In one, why is she like this? Has something happened to her? The princesses? Her subjects? Could it be she has to make a drastic decision that will change the outcome of something or everything? There are some things for you guys to think about while we go through these next scenes. Actually, about these scenes that are about to come up are a little different because of one thing. But I still think it's all connected into one whole scene. However, I still haven't figured out if Twilight, using her magic, cleaned up her messy room, or this is an entirely different time in the episode. Either one, it's still in Twilight's workroom. So you guys can decide which one makes more sense in your opinion. Here in this scene, we see Fluttershy backing up. I don't think the words she says in the background are in sync with her mouth or in this situation. Maybe, maybe not. You guys decide. From the beginning, we see Spike in between the ponies facing, I guess, Twilight. Then, while she backs up, we see the window and the drapes totally loose, and the floor completely clean. This is why I labeled this scene and future scenes as the clean workroom. The ponies and the dragon are smiling towards Twilight, if she's there, probably yes. Still, or trying to encourage her, probably to believe in herself that they are with her all the way, whatever the conflict that is going on there. Now, the room layout. The characters are in the middle, which means Twilight is at the end of the room away from the door. Now for some questions. What is Fluttershy saying here? Why is she backing up? Was she talking to Twilight? Was she even next to Twilight? They're all smiling, so maybe they are comforting Twilight? Also, why is the window kind of dark? Is there a storm outside? Why is the room so clean? Is this a different time than when it was messy? Or did Twilight use magic to do a quick clean and then continue their conversations? This is where I will let you guys figure that out, because my brain is literally fried. Now I guess during this time period, the characters are probably moving around, which leads me to this scene. We see that Twilight, with a down expression, is walking to the other end of the room, away from the open window, with her friends standing with sad, confusing, maybe disappointed faces. They look at Twilight, then to themselves, then at Twilight again, almost asking each other what should they do. Focusing on the window or outside, we can tell that there is a storm. And the purple drapes are loose as well with the clean floor. But as I mentioned this before, this chair gets me confused, because it wasn't there in the last scene, which questions everything I have worked on so far unless it's an animation error, in which I hope. Good news though, that it's the same window, just opened, drapes, coffee mug, books, paper, bookshelf, and designs just as the room layout I matched together. It's exactly the same. Now for the questions. Why is Twilight feeling down? Why are her friends looking at each other, then at Twilight? What is the situation that they are in? Who opened the window? Why is the window open? There is a storm outside. Has a threat occurred? Those clouds look familiar. Are the Wendigos here? If they are, is Equestria under attack? Why aren't they doing anything? This is too much for my brain. On to the next scene. Here we have Twilight crying and saying she is scared. This was hard to watch over and over. Believe me, this will be me at the end of the season finale. Now I'm scared. For what am I going to do without you, My Little Pony? Okay, back to the scene. The only things I really want to point out is the location where Twilight is. After walking away from her friends, I guess that she is somewhere here near the door. The papers are the exact same ones near the door as well, and you can see a little bit of the door right there. So that is how I connected Twilight walking across the room. Now comes the questions. Brace yourselves. Why is Twilight scared? Scared of what? Herself? The threat? The villains? Becoming the ruler of a whole country? Is she doubting herself as ruler? Does she think she has to do this alone? Is she feeling the pressure on what it means to rule an entire country, having every pony depend on you and your leadership, protection, wisdom, guidance, everything? Could it be that she has to make a severe decision that will drastically change the outcome of the upcoming conflict? Does Twilight and her friends have to make the ultimate sacrifice that will save Equestria but will lose something in return? Maybe some pony creature, lives, power, magic themselves? You have no idea how desperately I wanted to ask those questions, and I still have a list of questions that still need answers, but I will spare you on those because it could get pretty dark and very sad. On to the next scene. In this scene, we have Applejack saying,
"You've made a big difference to us,"
which is quite touching, if I may say. It's in sync with her mouth, and I bet she said that to Twilight, probably who's right in front of her. Twilight's friends give reassuring smiles in the middle of the room with Applejack and Spike a little bit closer to Twilight, assuming she is near the door like Spike. This picture was the most difficult in figuring out the layout of Twilight's workroom. If this picture is accurate, then this room is very small, with 2 windows, 2 big bookshelves, and 1 door, which is what my amazing art skills show here. In conclusion, I predict that Twilight is close to the door. Now for some questions. Since Applejack said those words, does this mean Twilight is afraid of not making a big difference to her subjects as their new ruler? Like maybe Celestia and Luna might have in the past? Why would Applejack say that to Twilight unless it was something Twilight was unsure of or afraid of? Also, why is Applejack and Spike closer to Twilight than the other 4? Looking at their faces, it seems that they are trying to encourage Twilight that she has impacted many ponies. Many pony lives, especially her friends, and that she doesn't have to worry, for they believe in her and her abilities. In honesty, coming from me, Twilight will become a great ruler, and she will be amazing. Now, before I start crying about this, I will go to the next scene. Notice Twilight and Spike are in front of the door. Spike is actually flying next to Twilight, then turns Twilight towards the rest of her friends. I don't know if what Spike is saying is in sync here, but I would like to believe so. You can see he is trying to explain something to Twilight, and then points her to her friends. Twilight is still having a sense of doubt in her face, or whatever this unsureness expression means. I'm guessing that Spike is showing Twilight to her friends because all of them, including him, believe in Twilight? That whatever challenge comes her way, she will find a way to solve it? Of course she will, she's Twilight. But more on the questions here. Why doesn't Twilight believe in herself? Did something happen to make her not believe in herself? Is it the threat that is coming or already here so great that it's making her doubt herself? I mean, they defeated Sombra without the elements of harmony because they are the elements altogether. So what is making her feel this way? She has every pony there with her, so I'm guessing something must be pretty big for her not to believe in herself or her friends. Is this something big? Is she still not confident in becoming ruler of her country? Come on, Twilight, tell us. Okay, this is either a serious situation that Twilight and her friends are in or facing, or this is just Twilight doubting herself of becoming the next ruler of Equestria. Now, we shall go to the final scene of Twilight's workroom. Woo, we're almost there. Finally, a group hug. Twilight was getting so sad in these scenes that it feels great to see her smile. I'm proud of you, Twilight. From the beginning, we see Twilight hugging Spike so tightly that it's a squeeze hug. Aww. And both of them are in front of the door. Placement. Coming at them are her friends. Notice that from the last scene, Applejack was closer to Twilight, and then Rarity was behind her, so it makes sense how the following of the hug went that way. Rainbow, of course, was flying the whole time, so she would come up from there. And Fluttershy and Pinkie were right next to each other, so coming in for a hug as well. I'm guessing that Twilight was so moved by those encouraging words from before that she grabbed Spike while he was flying and embraced him tightly, giving him a squeezing hug, and of course her friends join in on that hug. Now for some questions. Was it just Spike's words that made Twilight believe in herself again? Or was it every pony in the room? Also the room layout. It's making me doubt myself again. Where are the sticky notes or the papers next to the door? Is this not in the same scene as the others? And lastly, can I please join in on that hug? Because I really need one right now, especially since this is the last season and I need as much encouragement, love, and support and... Oh, computer overheated. Ow, ow. Next time, don't pick up the computer. Ow. Oh, man. I need some ice now. Ice. Now we have gone through all the scenes in Twilight's workroom. I hope I was able to give you guys as much information on these scenes as I could. And, of course, many, many, many questions for you guys to think about. Now, it's time for my theory / kind of fanfic on this category. You might want to get the popcorn out for this one because this will be a long story, unless I can talk really fast. Let's get started. The threat to Equestria has already come to Canterlot's doorstep. The League of Villains organized a plan to have every Pegasus, Unicorn, and Earth Pony to turn on each other.
It really was super easy to get all those Earth ponies and Pegasi and unicorns to turn on each other.
It was, wasn't it? Now that is something to think about.
This will be Chrysalis and Cozyglow's job. Having every pony fighting throughout Equestria, the Wendigos would return, with a little help from Grogar's magic. Then, when every pony is distracted, Tirek will absorb all of the pony's magic and get stronger by the minute, then taking over Canterlot. After Chrysalis and Cozyglow did their jobs, Twilight and her friends were trying to calm every pony down. But no pony was listening. They were so consumed in their fighting that they even tried pulling the main six apart from each other. The Earth ponies were trying to get Applejack and Pinkie Pie on their side, the Unicorn's Rarity, and Rainbow Dash Fluttershy to the Pegasi. It was total chaos. Twilight felt so much pressure from every pony fighting that seeing friends turn on friends, it was horrifying to see as the princess of friendship. Twilight tried reasoning with them, but they weren't having it. They even questioned her authority to rule. She wasn't any of their kind, but an alicorn. They yelled at her, telling her things that, for some pony who was about to become her ruler, should never say. Twilight just stood still, having those words eating her brain. Not fit to rule. You're no princess and you can't leave your subjects. You're not even a unicorn, Pegasus, or Earth pony. You can't tell us what to do. Some princess you are. Go be with your alicorn kind. Not fit to rule. It kept getting worse and worse. Twilight's friends got her away from the crowd and asked if she was okay. The royal guard saw this and told Princess Twilight to head inside and they'll keep every pony out. And so she did with her friends. They quickly went to Twilight's workroom, Twilight quickly looking through all her books, trying to find something that could help them in this situation. They all huddled thinking that this could be some kind of spell that every pony was under, but it was something that Twilight or her friends couldn't figure out. Twilight started to remember those words that her soon-to-be subjects were yelling in her ear. Pinkie and the others were confident in their abilities to handle whatever threat there is to come. They did it before against Sombra. Nothing could stop them. They were all together, and nothing could get in their way because they were the elements themselves. So all were ready to save Equestria. But then Twilight backed away from her friends. They noticed this and asked why. Is everything all right, Twilight? She responded heavily on what the ponies outside said. She couldn't help them then. What makes her think as ruler of Equestria she can help them now? Becoming ruler meant leading her subjects, keeping them safe, leading by example like the princesses did. She couldn't do any of that. Spike ran up to her saying some encouraging words, but it didn't help what actually was going on with her. Then Twilight cleaned up her room, for there was no book that could help her in this situation. Fluttershy went up to her, trying to say something encouraging, but it didn't work, so she just paced back. Twilight was going back and forth in the room, and suddenly she looked outside the window. She opened it and saw dark clouds forming. They didn't look like normal storm clouds. They looked different. She noticed in a far distance that there was something coming out of the clouds. They were Wendigos, coming to Canterlot. The situation got dire, and her friends saw that too. Twilight just suddenly broke down and walked to the other side of the room. Her friends looked at each other, not knowing what should they do, or even say to Twilight. Then, they saw her cry. Twilight was scared. She was scared to do all this. She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready to lead, to protect, to make a difference like the other princesses did. A threat has already come, and she couldn't even protect her future subjects. Twilight couldn't even bring them together. Even though the coronation hasn't happened yet, she was still failing at what she was meant to do, what she is going to do. She felt all that pressure in herself and just couldn't handle it. Then Applejack spoke and said that she is an amazing example, that she has made a great difference, especially to them. Throughout the years, they have known each other, and they know that there is nothing that can tear their friendship apart. Then Spike flies up to her and encourages Twilight by saying that they all believe in her, and her abilities to become a great ruler. She has led her friends before, and look how they turned. Their friendship is stronger than ever, and they will never leave her side. Spike will never leave her side, and he will always be her #1 assistant. Spike's words finally reached Twilight. Then she realized that she is not alone. She has always had her friends with her and helped her through many trials. Twilight was so thankful for having them that she grabbed Spike and thanked him and her friends, and all went in for a group hug. Thank you guys for listening. This was Twilight's Workroom Observations, Discoveries, and Theories category. If there's anything I've missed in these scenes or spotted something new, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to share your theories on this category, please share that as well. I love reading everyone's comments and interacting with you guys. The next category will be Twilight's Throne Room. Stay tuned for that. Thank you everyone for watching. Please subscribe to support my channel and to see more videos. Hungry Harmony out.
Do you know?